Ah, the sea, vast, untamed, filled with whispers of lost secrets. Throughout history, the waves have carried more than just water. They've borne empires, dreams, and the rise and fall of civilizations. But every so often, those same waters carry something else. Something darker. A shadow that moves beneath the surface, waiting to emerge. Today, we delve into one of the greatest enigmas to ever set sail upon those waves. The story of the Sea Peoples, an unstoppable force that rose from the depths, shattered the ancient world, and then vanished as if swallowed whole by the very seas that bore them. Picture the world as it was over 3,000 years ago, a world where mighty civilizations ruled the lands around the eastern Mediterranean. Egypt, with its towering pyramids and grand temples. The Hittites, fierce and organized, their empire stretching far across Anatolia. The Mycenaeans, master builders whose legends would one day inspire tales of gods and heroes. This was a time of power and wealth, where kingdoms thrived on trade and the exchange of ideas, where art, language, and technology flourished like never before. The Bronze Age, an era of glory and prosperity where the sea itself was a highway for commerce. Ships crossed the waters, laden with gold, spices, and treasures beyond imagination. Cities buzzed with the sounds of trade, and the hum of progress was heard across the lands. But little did they know their world was about to change forever, from the corners of the earth, beyond the sight of even the most watchful eyes. Something was stirring. A force was gathering, one that would plunge this golden age into chaos and darkness. And then, almost without warning, they came. The Sea Peoples, a name given to them by the terrified civilizations they ravaged. They appeared like a storm from the deep, unknown, uninvited, and unstoppable. They struck with the fury of the sea itself, a wave of destruction that no empire was prepared for. They sailed upon sleek ships armed to the teeth, moving swiftly along the coastlines, leaving ruin in their wake. Their arrival was not a simple raid. It was an all-out assault on the very foundations of the ancient world. The Egyptians, who had faced countless threats in their long history, recorded these invaders in their ancient texts. Pharaoh Ramses III, in his temple at Medinet Habu, described them as foreigners from the sea, attacking with such ferocity that even the great Egyptian army struggled to hold them back. Ramses spoke of how these sea peoples came like locusts, a relentless swarm that devoured everything in its path, laying waste to cities, tearing down palaces, and burning entire civilizations to the ground. But who were these mysterious warriors of the waves? The ancient records don't give them a single name. Instead, they speak of tribes, the Peliset, the Shardana, the Shekelesh, and more, each one seemingly as elusive as the next. Some say they came from the islands of the Aegean, their homes destroyed by natural disasters, seeking refuge and conquest. Others believe they were once allies of these great empires, mercenaries turned on their masters when fortunes changed. But the truth, well, that's where the real mystery begins. The clues they left behind are as scattered and fragmented as the ruins they created. Weapons found buried in the sands of ancient battlefields, fragments of pottery washed up on distant shores. Archaeologists have pieced together a puzzle that tells us they were not just pirates or raiders. They were organized, strategic, and they had a purpose. They didn't simply loot and leave. They sought to dismantle the very structures of society, to reshape the world in ways that we still don't fully understand. As they moved from city to city, from shore to shore, the Sea Peoples left the ancient world gasping in their wake. Entire civilizations crumbled. The Hittite Empire, once mighty and feared, fell into ruin. The cities of the Levant burned and abandoned. Even mighty Egypt, the jewel of the ancient world, was brought to the brink of collapse. It was as if the very fabric of the Bronze Age was tearing apart, thread by thread, unraveling into chaos. And yet, despite all their power, despite all the fear they inspired, the Sea Peoples themselves seemed to vanish just as mysteriously as they had appeared. As though the sea had simply opened up and swallowed them whole, erasing their footsteps from the sands of time. Who were they really? What drove them to rise from the depths to bring empires to their knees? And why, in the end, did they disappear back into the mist, leaving us only with echoes of their terror and the hollow remains of fallen cities? History is not always kind in revealing its secrets, but the story of the Sea Peoples, my friends, is far from over. It is a mystery waiting to be unraveled, a tale that haunts the pages of time. Stay with me, and together we will journey deeper to see what truths lie hidden beneath the waves. For in the echoes of the past, we might just find the answers we've been searching for all along. Ah, my friends, here we stand at the edge of the known world, peering into the abyss of time. The Sea Peoples, these enigmatic warriors of the waves, left behind more questions than answers. And it is here, in the scattered ruins and the faded scrolls of history, that we must continue our search. Who were they? What drove them to rise from the depths and lay waste to some of the greatest empires of their age? Perhaps the answers lie not just in who they were, but in what they sought. Theories, oh, how they swirl like the currents of the sea itself. Some scholars believe the Sea Peoples were Mycenaeans fleeing the collapse of their own civilization. You see, around the same time as the Sea Peoples' rise, the Mycenaean world was in turmoil. Palaces burned, cities abandoned, and trade routes cut off. Could it be that these once great warriors, now dispossessed and desperate, took to the seas in search of new lands to conquer, new kingdoms to call their own? And then there are those who say that the Sea Peoples were not just a single group, but a coalition, a gathering of tribes and nations, united by a shared need to survive. Perhaps they were Anatolians, pushed from their lands by famine and drought, their fields dry and cracked, their homes uninhabitable. Or maybe they were the Shardana and the Shekelesh, pirate clans turned mercenaries, warriors without masters, bound only by the promise of plunder and survival. In their desperation, they became something more, a force that would reshape the Mediterranean forever. But there is another possibility, one even more chilling. What if the Sea Peoples were the agents of a wider collapse? The Bronze Age world was interconnected in ways we can scarcely imagine. When one link in the chain broke, the entire system began to unravel. Crop failures, climate change, and natural disasters might have driven these peoples from their lands, not as conquerors, but as survivors of a world already falling apart. Could it be that they were not the cause, but merely the harbingers of the storm that was destined to come? And what of their sudden disappearance? After their last great battles against Ramses III of Egypt, they seemed to fade into the shadows of history. Oh, there are whispers that some of them settled along the coasts of Canaan, becoming the Philistines we read about in ancient texts. Others may have mingled with local populations, their identity dissolving like salt in the ocean. But the truth is as elusive as the tides. They came, they saw, they conquered, and then they vanished, leaving us with only the echoes of their fury. The ancient Egyptians wrote of their victory over these invaders, claiming they had driven the Sea Peoples back into the depths. But was it truly a victory, or merely a momentary triumph against an enemy that had already set the wheels of chaos in motion? For even in their supposed defeat, the world around them was crumbling. The Hittite Empire, a titan of its time, fell into ruin. The cities of Ugarit and Alashia lay in ashes, and the once great Mycenaean palaces stood empty, ghosts of a forgotten glory. And here we are, millennia later, still piecing together the fragments they left behind. Historians, archaeologists, dreamers, each of us searching for that missing piece of the puzzle, that one clue that will unlock the secret of who the Sea Peoples truly were. Were they merely opportunists in a world on the brink of collapse? Or were they driven by a greater purpose, a destiny foretold by the stars and carried out by the hands of fate? In the end, the Sea Peoples are more than a historical mystery. They are a symbol of how fragile civilization truly is. They remind us that even the mightiest of empires can fall, that the tides of history are ever changing, and that the greatest forces often come not from the known, but from the unknown. They are a testament to human resilience, to our capacity to adapt, to survive, and to rise anew from the ashes of the past. And so as we close this chapter on the Sea Peoples, we find ourselves standing once more at the water's edge, gazing out at the vast unknown. The sea that once brought forth these warriors now holds their secrets in its depths. Perhaps one day, the waves will give up their ghosts, and we will finally understand the true story of the Sea Peoples. But until then, their legacy lives on. In the ruins they left behind, in the stories etched into stone, and in the echoes of the past that still call to us across the ages. Thank you for joining me on this journey, my friends. If these mysteries of the ancient world have stirred your curiosity, stay with us here at Echoes of the Past. Let us unravel these hidden threads together, for history is never truly silent. It speaks, if only we have the ears to listen.